What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
And I am Tom, the OG Fig Kid, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate.
And we have, he's no stranger to the tavern. It's J-Bone, man.
What's up, guys? I'm going to have to steal a promo line from the great Val Venus. And it goes a little something like this. Since I'm making my return to the Turnbuckle Debate. The big J-Bonowski. He's like Julius Caesar. I came, I saw, and then I came again, baby.
Man, there's nothing like a good Val Venus to kick off the show, man. I love it.
Oh, I wish we had his music. I love his intro music.
I know.
Hello, ladies.
Nothing was better than when he was doing the promos in the crowd and he had the sign saying, "I'm coming."
Yeah. And, Val Venus actually forced me not to watch WWE anymore when I was 13 years old because I accidentally watched it when my parents are like, you're not watching this shit anymore.
And that probably happened for a lot of people, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're glad to have you back on.
Man, appreciate it.
Debate, the format.
Yep.
So
let's roll.
Are you guys ready to just jump into it, man?
Let's do it.
Okay, so our first topic of the evening. Should Matt Cardona be the face of GCW? So what happened this past weekend? Matt Cardona and Nick Gage had the blow off to that whole feud, and it was at GCW's event night, one of their event. And what do you guys think? Matt Cardona goes over, wins the GCW championship.
Bloodbath.
Yeah.
Takes the championship to Disneyland. So
He did, man. I'll tell you, I think no matter what, Nick Gage is always going to be the face of GCW. Those fans just love him. But look at the eyes that Cardona brought to it, man. People were tuning in. I would love to know what their buy rate was, and good for them. And they go out and they put on a hell of a show, the whole night with new people tuning in because they knew they had to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he can ever be the face, but man, he's been great for them. He's got the wrestling world talking again.
He does. And kudos to him, right? I think he is going to be, when we see this down the line about 5 years ago, we see all these wrestlers getting booted from WWE. He's going to be the guy that the people, the pattern that he thought that they're going to follow. What he's done, and this is before GCW. I thought it was really smart. A lot of wrestlers say, "Okay, hurry up, let me jump into another contract with another company." His former tag team partner, Brian Myers, he's in Impact, which is great. But I think what he's done has been really smart. He showed up at AEW, got that little bit of buzz, and then kind of just went back and then made his Impact return on Impact. And I think he's just done it really smart. I think he could be the face of GCW. And I think he wants to, more importantly. I don't think this is like a gimmick or he's just trying to keep getting heat or anything like that. I think he genuinely wants to make this like an ECW type product, and he could be the face of it. He could be like a Terry Funk kind of or something like along those lines. Not that, Terry Funk was a lot older when he was in ECW, but there was somebody with that experience, that background.
I never thought I'd hear the day when Cardona was compared to Terry Funk. I never thought I would hear that day.
You egg-sucking dog.
But I think I don't think Matt Cardona is going to be the face of GCW. He's going to be the heel of GCW.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what they need to rile that fan base up, to get people more invested, because they've done two great things by bringing Cardona in for this program and having him win the title. One, they've stirred their fan base they already have. I mean, they want blood. They want this guy's head on a pike. And then they've also brought in a fan base that was never watching GCW, all the major marks. So now they have two pretty rabid, small fan bases within the wrestling community that are all eyes on GCW. Cardona was on Busted Open Radio this week, and he talked about how, this isn't a one and done thing for him. He wants to help elevate this company, and he sees something there. And, GCW has been at the top of the indie game for a couple years now. I mean, when you've got guys like Mance Warner, Joey Janela during the spring break, Matt Justice, obviously Nick Gage, all the deathmatch guys, they've got a lot of heat. And now you throw in this just completely, I mean, if there's anybody who is a WWE stereotype, it's Matt Cardona.
Absolutely.
And it's brilliant booking. And the biggest thing, he's going to bring eyes, but the thing that no one's really I guess some people are talking about it, but they just worked a bunch of people. This whole program was almost like they reinvented kayfabe.
Yeah,
100%.
People thought things were legit, and I'm like, dude, Cardona and Gage are backstage with Brett Lauderdale, who owns the company, and they're sitting there with devious grins on their face, thinking, man, we are going to get this crowd. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And people forget too, one thing that made me a fan of Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder back in the day, he's a fan, he's like, that's why he got so over with his YouTube program. It's not like, how you have these wrestlers, they kind of get jaded or whatever. He's like a legitimate fan. He knows the business inside out. I mean, he's watched everything, just like Brian Myers has too. I bring him up a lot because obviously they're kind of hooked together. But he's just a fan, but he is not just such a mind for not just the wrestling business, but business in general. He just knows what people want and how to give it to them. So I think that's another reason why he could be the face of this company.
I mean, it's amazing. You look at what he did all those years ago. He went and he got himself over on social media before social media was what it was today. He got himself a huge following, and WWE never did anything with it. And here we are all these years later, and he goes and he gets everybody talking about him again. In a time, like you said, kayfabe is alive because, even they got Busted Open Radio in on it. You had Bubba Ray asking him about that. Hey, I heard you guys really don't like each other. Yeah. It's awesome. To actually believe a storyline like this is what we love as wrestling fans. So kudos to everybody involved and for everybody for doing it, because it's just been a great story. And it's something, wrestling is booming right now. And this is just part of the boom. It was perfectly done.
And Tom, I think that reason that you said right there is the reason I'm going to say I don't think he should be or will be the face of GCW. I think he's going to be exactly what Chad was talking about. He's going to be the antagonist. He's going to be the heel that comes in. Their fans, Nick Gage, they're going to have their homers there that are their fan base, and Cardona's going to come in and completely shit on everything that they do.
He's doing it right now.
Mark Sterling's going to, even with Mark Sterling coming out and doing what he did in the ring, that's them getting eyes on it, but not being the face. He's coming out and being the heel that's getting the eyes on the company, but he's coming out and say, even in what he posted with the pictures of the belt, when he took it to Disneyland,
he gave it a belt bath.
Because he said that was disgusting, and just completely talking, putting down the fans hating him, the fans standing their ground for the company. I think that's why he's not going to be the face, but he's going to be a great heel for the company.
Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. I could see where you have a faction. He comes in, he maybe brings some of these ex WWE guys, and almost like kind of like a newer version of NWO, possibly,
Yeah.
but not really necessarily, like that. Make it just, hey, we're just shined up, we're pretty boys. I'm trying to think who off the top of my head, because this idea literally just kind of just went kind of in my head. But you could have, maybe like, some of his buddies, like let's say a Dolph Ziggler. Let's say if he gets let go.
Ziggler's who popped into my head.
Yeah. I mean, that would be, Ziggler coming out there and just, you bunch of fucking marks, how he does, and they're gonna go rabbit,
Here's one thing with Matt being in that company. Okay, he needed this just as much
absolutely
as GCW needed it.
Yes,
100%.
When he came to AEW, I'll be honest, man, we were stoked to see Cardona in AEW, but when I saw the presentation, I was a little let down by it, because I'm like, dude, I don't need Zack Ryder 2.0.
right.
Yeah.
You're still wearing your hair the same way. It's a different name. The gear's a little different, but it's still kind of the baby face. Dude, this is what he needs. This is Hogan turning heel. This not on that level, but for Cardona, that's what this is. This is a chance to show a completely different side of him. He's never been able to play the heel. The only thing I worry about with this whole situation, and they kind of talked about it on Busted Open a little bit. Cardona wants to come in. He talked about, they don't even have ring skirts. We need to up the production a little bit. And I do agree, like maybe some better sound, some better lighting and stuff like that. But don't fuck with GCW too much, man. The charm in it is it being a rugged, down and dirty outlaw type thing. If you start polishing this up, one, the fans are going to revolt, and it's not going to be good heat.
Yeah.
If you start changing the actual product that they love, they're not going to be mad at Cardona. They're going to get mad at GCW. They're going to get mad at Brett Lauderdale. Yep. How are you bringing this guy in and changing this company? This isn't what this company is about. So I hope with him being the face of the company or the heel of the company or whatever you want to call him, I just don't. You can make improvements, but you can't lose that thing that makes it special. You can't polish it up too much. We don't want that.
And I think that's more Cardona just making the comments to kind of heal off a little bit too.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. He might just be kind of working them a little bit, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come in. We're gonna put Major Pod logos on this ring skirt. We're gonna put Ringside Collectibles here.
That's very true.
Listen, behind every great wrestling boom is that awesome heel. If you think about it, you had Roddy Piper during the original boom back in the 80s. So he's just doing that right now, and everybody wants to see the heel beat. It's all he is, and he's doing a perfect job, and he's reestablished himself, and everybody around the wrestling world is taking notice, saying, wow, this guy is out of his comfort zone, and look what he's doing.
Yeah.
So,
dude, if they make the right moves, if they keep all of the players that this independent scene loves, and then they bring a guy like Cardona in and bring other eyes to it, I really wouldn't be surprised if this promotion takes a step out of just the pure indies and becomes amongst the ranks of the MLWs, the Impacts, it's possible. It is definitely possible.
Yeah.
Why not, man? They could. Good for them. And it's the best way for it to happen is something like this. Let it grow organically.
Yeah.
Dude,
don't put all the money behind it.
That tag match that they had with G Raver and Jimmy Lloyd versus the
Second
Gear Crew. Dude, that match was insane.
Yeah.
And
it's ECW for modern day.
Yeah.
When they I'm going to get off topic. When they stapled Mance's tongue to the board. And
Staple.
They stapled his tongue to the board and he lifted it up with it. I loved it. But that's what got these eyes on this company was what Cardona's doing.
Yep.
So,
and man, kudos to Cardona, because man, some of that stuff I kind of have to like close my eyes on. It's like geez, because he's, that's something you don't see from him.
Yeah.
And that's not something he's really like used to. I don't think we've ever seen Cardona get color ever in his career, unless it was like by accident,
Yeah.
And
Definitely not like this.
well, but see, here's the thing. That wasn't just color. That was like hard way. I mean, that shoulder, it was just after he went through that glass. I mean, whew, that was brutal.
Hey man, me and Chad went to a deathmatch event live recently, and it's a different vibe, man.
It's a different world.
It's a whole different world.
It's a different subculture when you're in that arena. And I'm not like this. That was the first deathmatch I had ever been to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of watching Terry Funk, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Onita, stuff like that, FMW. But that being in there, the fan base, there's a different energy. It's cool though. It's cool being in there and seeing such a rabid, hungry fan base for something.
98% of the people in there knew everybody that was there. They knew the chants for the guys. Jimmy Lloyd was there. And then I knew I was in a different world when I walked in and I saw people have MDK tattooed on their calves.
Yeah. These are hardcore fans, man.
And that's a shoot, man.
It's almost like a punk rock vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's very punk rock vibe.
But here's the thing: is they're also in tune though and into mainstream stuff, because in the match with Cardona, you had the Fozzy music hit, which I thought was genius.
Yes,
he's got he had the match with Nick Gage.
They
last
got
week
me on that, man. They got
but I thought that was genius but even those fans, they were like, "Oh my God, it's Chris Jericho! He's here!" They got me too. Honestly, I thought Jericho was going to be coming out.
Yeah,
I thought it was beautiful,
and that's to their booking, because it wasn't out of the realm of possibilities, because we've seen Moxley show up there out of the blue. So when that music hit, it was like, "Oh shit, okay, here we go."
We saw Cardona. Nobody would expect Cardona to show up there.
Nope.
Last month,
Yeah.
So,
and then you got Mark Sterling on night 2 to just continue the storyline.
Oh, he's so good.
That awesome statement. And it just says, "Fuck you."
Where's the stairs? Where's the stairs?
And you know what's funny about that? He talked about that. Because I've been trolling for like the last month, GCW fans, right? And I've been going on there and saying, Cardona's going to be your new GCW Universal 24/7 champion. And even Emil J, the ring announcer, I tweeted that to him, and he just gave me the puke emoji. So when Sterling said that, about I think we should rename it the GCW Universal title. I'm like, yes, awesome. Let's do it.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Anybody have any final things to say before we wrap up and move on?
Nope. Just enjoying the ride. Let it keep going.
All right. Well, I mean, the next topic kind of plays into it anyway.
Yeah.
J-Bone, this is what you had brought. So the fans throwing the trash in the ring, is that an embarrassment or is that good heat?
Well, so I brought this because I'm going to read this here, and I love how GCW now has a T-shirt of this tweet.
I love that.
So this is the tweet from Dave Almighty Meltzer. I'm sure people will make their lame excuses for it or say how much the heat was, but the crowd reaction was such bullshit and such an embarrassment to the industry. I'm actually reading this from Brett Lauderdale's Twitter, and it's the T-shirt. It's the word for word the T-shirt that they've made for this. And I read this and I'm like, come on, man. Like, this isn't mainstream, Like, first of all, like there's so many problems with that statement. I know there was some dangerous stuff thrown in there. I think there was a pizza cooker thrown in there at one point. That's not cool. An open beer can, that's not cool, right? I get that. But this is pro wrestling has been doing this stuff for years. So in the town that I was born in, Michael PSAs, he talks about this on one of the Legends things. He talked about how for years they couldn't go to Lake Charles, Louisiana. The reason is they stopped going there is because they would have the super soakers or water guns. they wouldn't fill up with water and shoot him. They'd fill up with Drano and shoot it at him.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. And this, we're talking about early 80s. This is Mid-South Power Pro Wrestling, you know? So, I mean, this isn't like a generation where they're just being reckless or anything like that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I think what and you, I think it was Sneed or Chad, I can't remember. Somebody brought it up earlier. This is like you're being in the middle of a mosh pit, you know. You're going to like, I don't know, like a Lamb of God concert, and you're just in the middle of a mosh pit.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't go to it. You know, it's just simple as that. I don't personally want to be in the middle of a mosh pit. You know, that's just not my thing. I'll maybe watch a concert on TV or something, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, they shouldn't be doing a mosh pit. That's dangerous. You know,
Right.
So I think Mr. Meltzer needs to get off his high almighty horse and realize, you know, this is perfect heat, and Bubba said it perfect. So on Busted Open, you know, he explained it. You know, the fans see WWE as Backstreet Boys, you know, and this is, like I said, like Lamb of God, Slipknot, you know.
Right.
So this isn't like people going to a WWE show. You're not going to see that kind of stuff. So.
It's 2021, and it's hard these days for a heel to go out and get the heat that they look for. So the fact that he had the people throwing his stuff at him shows he did exactly what he wanted. It's exactly the type of reaction he wanted, and it makes for great TV. Now, is it dangerous? I mean, he just got light bulbs broken over all his head. His arm is bleeding. What's getting hit with a bottle going to do to him that didn't already happen to him during that match? Is it safe? No, but I'm sure he was fully expecting that to happen. So, I mean, you walk into that crowd, you know what's going to happen. You know it. So I don't see. I mean, am I condoning throwing a pizza slicer at him? No,
Absolutely not. No,
I'd rather see just the bottles being thrown at him, but still, it made for an awesome moment to see it happen. And it's like the NWO heat all over again.
Yeah, I agree. Don't throw unopened 16 ounce. Don't throw unopened some tall boys at you.
It's a waste of beer.
Like, don't throw the whole thing. You paid for that, drink it, then throw the can. Like, nobody's benefiting from that. But
like JR would say, that beer has a family.
Throw it all, man. Throw all the trash at him. Throw more trash at him. I thought it was a beautiful scene when he won that belt. As soon as the bell rang, those fans came unglued. They were unhinged. They were pissed that their champion lost, and they showed it by throwing trash in the ring. I loved it. They could have thrown more trash. They should have found trash cans and just threw them.
Whoever brought the figure to throw at him, that was epic. Did you see that?
They probably got it from the DTOF. They probably got the figure from the DTOF.
That was the most genuine fucking reaction we've seen in pro wrestling in quite some time. I think Dave was even alluding to there was plants in the audience. Like, dude, no, that was real heat. Oh, that is what happens, and that's what kills me. Like, everyone, you know, oh, it was too dangerous. It's despicable. Dude, this is the type of shit that pro wrestlers, since wrestling has went the way that it, you know, when it branched off and became what it is today, since 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, guys kill for this reaction. Nobody's got a gun against Cardona's head, forcing him to go out there and endure this. I don't like this. This is what they want,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, you signed up for this, dude. Like, he loves it. I'm sure, like, when he found out there was a pizza cutter thrown and full beers, like, that's dangerous, but charge it to the game, man. That's like, you incited this. You knew when you were rallying this fan base up, this is the type of reaction you might get. I think he even said when he came out to the ring, he was legit nervous because he could tell this crowd was ready for blood. And then that he knew what the ending was going to be. He had to be prepared. So Dave right now, like Meltzer, Uncle Dave, come on, Uncle Dave. Like,
Get with the times, man.
Go clean your room, Dave. All right, go do some of that, all that paperwork you got to find everywhere.
Go clean up, get all your paperwork, and then crumble it up and throw it at a wrestler.
I just don't understand for him to take such a hard line. This is a disgrace to the business. Like, I really don't understand why. I think sometimes Meltzer has a tone that is almost like he looks down on wrestling a little bit in certain ways. Like he's bigger than it. He understands it so much that he's bigger than.
Did he also hate it when Hogan got all the trash thrown at him?
I would love to know his reaction to that. I would love to,
because that was awesome too.
Yeah.
when Hogan turned and they were throwing the trash, I love that.
Yeah, and they did that. They did that a lot in WCW. During that time, even WWE. They had moments. Some of that those gritty moments, those early Attitude Era moments. They had people doing that. There's a whole lot of things you could put that are an embarrassment to the industry. And a little bit of trash that was thrown.
I could tell you 3 hours every Monday night. That's an embarrassment.
I was about to say that.
Right.
Trying out a mid-50s man. I know we're going off the subject, but trotting out a man. Y'all were talking about trotting out last week, but trotting out a man mid-50s, who can't work, whose only thing is you're next. That's embarrassing. Okay,
no, that's a disgrace. I love that trotting out has been.
I think that needs to be a T-shirt for you guys.
Trotting out. Dude, I don't know. That slayed me last week. What was going on?
We kept saying it, but no, you're right. There are so many more things that is disgraceful to the business. Like some of the, I know you guys like the Nikki Ash thing. I don't mind the Nikki Ash situation. But to me, like the booking of that, like Karrion Kross coming in to lose, that's disgraceful.
That's disgraceful.
I agree.
Nikki Ash being the champion and then being excited to get a win over Charlotte. You're the fucking champion.
Yeah.
Like they're treating her like an underdog, but you have the belt.
Yep.
Like
100%.
That whole booking is like off to me. I like the Nikki Ash thing, but like, goddamn, like you're not an underdog anymore. You have to you're a powerful woman. You're on top. You're not chasing Charlotte.
Right.
She should be chasing you. I think they gave her the belt too quick if they wanted to do that underdog thing. But anyway, I'm getting off topic.
All these guys with their websites are just starting to annoy me. Dave Scher over at PW Insider messaged out on one of his websites this week how he doesn't like blood in wrestling. How are you a wrestling fan and you don't like blood in wrestling?
How are you a combat sports fan and don't like blood?
Right.
I mean,
like what are these
Blood
guys trying to
happens,
do?
man. Blood happens.
You want to see a steel cage match?
Is everything.
I mean, that's why you love steel cage matches, because you know you're going to see blood. That's what makes a steel cage match a steel cage match.
Yeah, I want to see somebody. I want to see somebody bleed almost to death. Almost, not to die. I don't want him to die.
I mean, think of that Eddie Guerrero JBL match.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
God.
Do you remember the
good.
match on Raw where The Rock ended and you could just see the blood squirting out of his head? It was just squirting out. It wasn't even coming down his face. That was I got to go find out what episode of Raw that was and check that out again.
That to me is a rite of passage for wrestlers to, I'm growing up, I would go in the video store, Mr. Video, and I would look at these VHS tapes and I would flip them around and there would be pictures of Dusty Rhodes with the Crimson Mask.
Yep.
And you're looking at these guys and they are men.
Yeah.
Like they didn't look like
grizzled.
They didn't look like cartoon characters or funny, hokey bullshit. These were like tough guys. These were guys you did not want to fuck with. That is pro wrestling to me. Like you can have the characters. I love the larger than life stuff too, but like that's why I don't understand this Dave Meltzer situation with the trash, because I'm like, dude, there were stories when they would go to Puerto Rico, they would have to fight their way out of these buildings. There would be fans wanting to kill them. They thought it was so real.
Roddy Piper getting stabbed.
Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
He
Right.
lost his life, not so much over, there's a lot of stuff behind that too, but I'm saying like that was in a day when
that's an embarrassment.
like shit like that, like, but trash in a ring because you got legit heat from a fan base
that's a beautiful thing.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's a beautiful
That's not
thing.
a disgraceful thing.
And then I thought it was perfect the night after when Mark came out and he was addressing the crowd and someone threw something and he points at them and yells, "I know who you are. We know who you are. We're suing you."
That's great.
Like, that's great stuff, man.
He played it so well.
Yeah, and then the fans started throwing again a little bit,
Yeah.
Right after that,
he invited it with that
right.
statement. When he comes out there as just a shitbag heel that's, I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah.
Bully Ray had a good point. Bully Ray had a good point. He was like, the only thing I would have changed, he was like, when they started pelting Cardona was trying to duck and dodge. He was like, I wish Cardona just would have clinched up, held the belt in the air, and just stood there and took it. Like, that would have been cool. But I do like that he did the boyhood dream fall to his knees.
That was awesome.
That was such a WWE thing right there.
Yeah. So perfect. It was just
I love
perfect for that product.
The videos after that were posted on the Major Wrestling Figure page of them trying to make their exit, and all the just like they were legit getting into it in the hallways.
Yeah.
Like anybody with a Major shirt on versus anybody with a GCW MDK shirt on. It was
gang warfare.
Gang warfare. Yeah. And I thought that was amazing.
I mean, they were chasing Cardona out of the building. I mean, he had legitimately had to be escorted by security. And it's still, even so, with those videos, that even brings even more heat to him because it's like, oh, Pretty Boy Cardona had to be escorted by security, It was great. It was great, know? So, not an embarrassment. Not an embarrassment.
All right, so we'll go ahead.
I was just going to say, they're doing something right because when is the last time you heard about an indie scene being talked about like this has been talked about the last week?
It's during a week of CM Punk and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like this, two of the biggest stories, this was right up there with them.
Yeah.
That tells you everything.
Which is funny when you see them, they show that picture from them after the WrestleMania when they were all three
in the ring.
Yeah.
So,
it was very cool.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah. All right. So, speaking of that, that's going to lead us. Perfect lead in, Tom. Perfect lead in. So, our final topic, should CM Punk or Daniel Bryan be instantly thrust into the championship picture if and when they arrive in AEW?
I say no.
Okay.
I mean, I think eventually it'll happen, but they don't need it. They're such big stars. Let them, help with, not that the show needs any help because it doesn't, but they could do on other parts of the card and be amazing. Let the main event be what it's going to be for the title. Adam Page, hopefully, I hope he wins it. I want to see him win it eventually. I don't know if I'm ready for this Omega thing to end yet. It's kind of fun watching that go on. I don't think I'd like to see them in the main event going for the title right away.
Yeah, I don't think both of them. I think one of them. I think Punk. I don't think Daniel Bryan. I think Punk.
So if you throw him into the title picture, though, that means, are you saying that Omega retains and Hangman doesn't get that belt?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So you think all this buildup with Hangman is not going to lead into Hangman winning it all out?
Yeah, well, I think eventually it will lead to him winning, but I think Punk comes in first and then he goes in, because I don't think Punk's going to be in a long-term a long-term booking with the championship. But I think he's instantly into the championship picture. But then I would love it when he comes back.
If Omega says to him, dude, you've been gone for 9 years and now you think you're just going to come walking in and challenge for the title when you have all these other guys who have been here working for a title opportunity? Make them work for it. Like, make that part of the story. Make that part of the story.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see any of them, any of those two guys coming in. I don't think they want to be in the title picture necessarily. I mean, I say that, they want to have featured stories. And I think they're more about, okay, what's my story, going to be? I want good stories. I don't think they need the title. I I say that because I fear that if they do that, when they come in, they're not going to give them the title. People who are WWE apologists are going to be like, see, you can't even use CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, right? You can't give them a title. You don't need a title. If you watch the product, they have great stories. They're doing it with Christian right now. People thought, oh, he's just going to be pushed into the storyline with Omega. No, Miro. I think whenever he debuted, I liked the idea. I think as the story went along, it was meh, but he's doing great now. Obviously Malachi Black, he's not being pushed to the to the top as far as a championship opportunity. Mm-hmm. He's going to be in a featured story with Cody. I think that's what your Daniel Bryans and your CM Punks want. I think they want to wrestle people they haven't wrestled. Because this will probably be their last hoorah. They want to wrestle the Omegas. They want to wrestle Cody. They want to wrestle Young Bucks. Can you imagine that? Punk versus Bryan, Punk and Bryan versus the Young Bucks for the tag team title.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've thought of that one, man.
That would be cool. I mean, then that way they both have a title, and they're not in the world title picture, and you continue on with your plans with Paige. But I don't know. I don't see them pushing them to the title picture.
See, I'm very torn on this because it's like a part of me. I think the way they've built the story, just when it comes to Hangman, it makes sense to give him the belt at All Out and have him beat Kenny.
Right.
And I think if you were to not have that happen and then put a Daniel Bryan or a CM Punk in that title picture, you're going to get a lot of backlash from hardcore AEW fans that are wanting Hangman to get that. But on the other end, I'm with Tom. Although I think Hangman, storytelling wise, it's the perfect full circle story of him. He got the first challenge against Jericho at All Out. He lost. Now he's coming back with this big long story with Omega. He wins the belt. But I'm not ready for Omega to give this belt up. I mean, so you're telling me we only have a month left of the belt collector? So it's
exactly.
I don't want to see Omega lose the belt.
If I were to, that's why I kind of do want to see one of them enter this title picture, because what if we think it's all leading to Hangman getting his belt? Ultimate screw job happens at All Out. Omega retains. He's laughing, celebrating. There's no one left. The one man you were going to see, I told you, now there's nobody. Cult of Personality hits. Crowd in Chicago erupts. Comes out, gets nose to nose with Omega, go off the air. Then he doesn't need the belt, but that is an instant way to blow the balls off of everyone in that arena.
That's for sure.
But how that would hurt Hangman, because I don't want to put him on the back burner too long. You know what I mean? Like, he does deserve that title. He does deserve that shot. They've been building it so well. And if they push him back, maybe that's too long. Where does he go? Does he flounder a little bit? It's really difficult how they would book that.
Yeah. I think it's time to put the title on a quote unquote homegrown talent, because Hangman, although he was with the Elite and stuff like that, he's not an EVP. He's not a former WWE star. We've had Jericho, Moxley, now Omega carry this title. I think it's time for AEW kind of take that step towards there, because it will prove the supporters right that, look, they take care of their homegrown talent. They build young stars, and I feel like, and I would love the story with exactly how you break it down, but I feel like that would allow WWE fans to go, well, you see, y'all are doing WWE light.
Absolutely. And I think you could do that. You could do that exact same story, but put the belt on Hangman. Then something happens post match.
Yeah.
And then,
but why does it have to happen there? Though?
That's true too.
What if if Hangman gets the belt and then at Arthur Ashe a heel Daniel Bryan comes out?
Yeah. Everyone's expecting them both to be faces, and everyone's expecting them to happen at All Out, CM Punk, Arthur Ashe, Daniel Bryan. Everyone's saying that.
Right.
That's why I think it probably isn't going to happen the way we think it's going to happen.
No, we know how it's going to happen in our heads.
Right.
That's not how it's going to happen in reality.
No.
Which makes it even better.
Right.
Exactly.
Makes it better.
Well, and we thought Malachi Black was going to debut like the Wednesday before All Out show, right? That's what everybody was thinking, or on All Out. That didn't happen. I've said this a lot on some YouTube program. That Arthur Ashe show is going to be super important. So glad y'all brought that up. I kind of forgot about that. So again, I'm a psychopath. I know dates and stuff like that. But September 22nd, 1997, that's when Stone Cold stunned McMahon for the first time in Madison Square Garden. Also WCW, September 22nd, 1997, Goldberg debuted. Now, I know I just got done trashing Goldberg, but there's no doubt he was a big star for WCW.
Oh, yeah.
He helped keep the Monday Night Wars from going, on and on for at least another year or two. He definitely was a big star. You can't doubt it. You can't doubt that. I don't just want to see him now. But September 22nd, 1997 was a big deal. And they're going to be in Arthur Ashe in New York for the first time. Tony Khan is a wrestling fan. He's like me. He's like knows numbers. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to compare myself to that, but he's like very what do they call it? Sabermetrically in tune. So he knows stuff. He knows dates. He's a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
You don't think he knows? Hey, September 22nd. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's a numbers guy.
Yeah, he's definitely got his eye. I don't think that was no accident where they booked that. So it's gonna be interesting to watch that show. I'm actually very excited to watch.
There's dirt sheet fodder that Arthur Ashe. There's something bigger at work for Arthur Ashe that isn't Punk and isn't Daniel Bryan. Now that could all be bullshit, dirt sheet bullshit. Who knows? But there are rumors that there's a bigger surprise that no one knows about.
You know what I wonder? When is Steve Austin's contract up with WWE?
Jesus.
Just throwing it out there.
Oh man, when's The Rock gonna show up on AEW? I mean, gee,
yeah. Stone Cold. What's the percentage that you give that, Tom? Stone Cold showing up in AEW.
I think he probably really wants to do it, but I would say that probably like a 10% shot of him doing it. But I think he would want to do it. He loves AEW. We know that.
I don't think
Stone Cold shows up.
It's like a negative 20%. Okay.
I'm giving it 10%. That's not too much.
Hope showing through.
I mean, it'd be great, but I think he's making bank over there with his sessions, and
that would stun the world if he showed up in AEW.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I don't know what it could be. I don't.
Other big surprise.
I gotta look up now. You got me curious if there's a website that has when all the WWE wrestlers' contracts expire.
Well, I know I did read. Everyone talking about this CM Punk stuff, and Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful. He was like, "If you guys think it's all 2021 is going to get crazy," he was like, "Look out for 2022 because there's a lot of crazy stuff coming down the pipe then." And I think that's just contracts coming up. There's going to be a lot of free agents on the table next year as well. So this isn't stopping. This talent grab and this back and forth. I honestly think if they do get CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, I think they turn their attention to the women's division and start trying to go after big name females.
Charlotte Flair.
Yep.
Hubby's over there now, right? Or fiance.
Yep.
So why not?
He tweeted the picture of them together and said maybe one day we'll be in the same corner. Basically, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Being in the same corner again.
And I think in 2022 I think we probably potentially start seeing some AEW big name AEW people going to the WWE. It could definitely happen. So we're looking at 2022. We're going to be 3 years. Roughly, those contracts they sign are about 3 years. Between 3 to 5 years. You never know.
You never know. It's money, man.
We could start seeing, talent swaps. Maybe Darby Allin would show up or something crazy like that. In WWE. I mean, that would be amazing.
Is it bad that would almost piss me off? Like that would just.
I think that is going to test. I'm going to be very interested to see who those first AEW guys are to make the jump, because I think there's something to be said about the culture, the company culture of WWE versus the company culture of AEW.
Well, I think if they jump, it's going to be purely money.
And that's the test. Who is in it? Who has the true loyalty and is willing to roll the dice and step out of a comfortable culture into a Shark Tank where you can't control your character?
Well, do you want to leave a wrestling company to go to an entertainment company?
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
I mean, you might have, it might be a wrestler who has more visions down the road, let's say if Dwayne Johnson was, and we had AEW in 1996 and he started off in AEW and then he could see, we're in the same climate put in 1996. He jumps over to WWE, and he's like, wow, man, I can maybe potentially become a movie star, It might be a wrestler like that. I can't think of one off the top of my head, honestly, that would be like that. Maybe like potentially maybe a Hangman. I don't know though, but I mean, I just thought
tied in with.
He is. He really is. Maybe like a Brian Cage. I could see that.
Yeah.
Like Brian Cage, he'd show up on WWE like a Monday Night Raw or something. I could see that happen. People. Somebody that's going to want to be just a tad bit more mainstream,
Right.
And, I don't know. I think, or Ricky Starks. Oh my God. Ricky Starks in WWE, I've always said he's Rock 2.0,
Oh yeah.
I think he will be a movie star one day, honestly. So,
I mean, but here's the thing though, I'm
getting mad listening to
this. Here's what bums me out about, okay, maybe this is just me being a complete hater, but say MJF takes the money, goes to WWE. Are you excited for that? Does that excite someone to see MJF in WWE?
Yeah,
it would depend on
it
would depend on the culture, honestly.
I'm talking about current day. How WWE?
No.
If WWE is continuously putting out the product they're putting out now, I don't want to see anybody go there from there. Yeah. Unless they do something, which we keep hoping for and never happens. So we're just blindlessly hoping at this point.
You have to have a tidal wave shift in the way they are booking and the culture of that company for me to be excited for anyone to go there. Anyone, like even John Cena coming back. I'm like, cool, Cena's back, but Cena coming back didn't pop me like a new person coming into AEW, because the possibilities of Malachi being in AEW is endless. Like, oh shit, what are they going to do? Whereas Cena coming back, it's like, I'm glad he's back. I'm excited about it, but it's not like that, oh my God moment. You know what I mean?
It's just going to be like, oh, what is he going to do again?
Yeah.
We've seen him in Roman already. Yeah. So I just looked it up, and the only two interesting names with contracts coming up soon, I don't know how reliable these websites are, is in the fall is Sami Zayn, Very interesting.
Next year? Or
this year. This year,
okay.
this fall. But next year for WWE, the one that kind of looks interesting is Edge. Christian's there. He's hearing about it. You never know.
Well, Edge originally, he actually heard talks from AEW.
Yeah. They wanted him.
He actually heard him out, but the only reason why he didn't sign on the dotted line is he wanted to hear Vince out first because Vince gave him that opportunity.
And I don't blame the guy. He's just being loyal at that point. His whole career was in WWE.
Yeah.
But, he sees and honestly, Edge is one of the most entertaining things on TV now. So at least he's in a real type of wrestling storyline. But he's got to look over there. Everybody's got to look over there and see everybody having fun and seeing the product, night in and night out. And how could you not look at that and not want to be a part of it?
Yeah. It looks like 2024 is going to be the monster year.
Okay.
2024 right now, just in WWE, Kofi, Big E, Xavier Woods, Randy Orton,
Ricochet,
and All Elite, Cody, he's not going anywhere, Bucks, Ethan Page, MJF.
I don't see like an MJF going there. I mean,
he's not going to be able to have the creative control, man.
Well, but here's the thing, like I mentioned, it's not even going to be necessarily money. I don't think I mentioned money, but you got to remember, Tony Khan has more money than Vince McMahon does,
right?
And I think it's going to be purely like, hey, WWE can make me a movie star, and I've always dreamt about working for WWE my whole life. I'm going to go work there. If they can match what I'm making in AEW, that's how they're going to go get those kind of people.
And I think the Khan family, because Shad Khan, Tony's dad, was in an interview, and he said he told Tony, like, all of this money that I have is you and your sister's anyways, so why not you take some of it now and spend it now? Why wait until I'm gone? So this is a family that is in the sporting business. Mm-hmm. Not only do they own an NFL team, they own a soccer team in England. Mm-hmm. So these are two guys who are competitive by nature.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put it past them to be like, they're them going after these people like Andrade and Malachi and Punk and Danielson and all of these people. It's almost like okay, we're stepping. We've got the gas pedal pushed down, but let's throttle it. Let's really, like, we're climbing. Let's really put the heat on Vince. Like, he doesn't think we're playing. Let's go sign some of these guys. It's almost like I could see Shad being like, spend a little more money. Mm-hmm. It's going to pay off in the long run.
Get out
when you have as much money as them and you want to give a guy a $3 million contract, it's nothing to them.
No.
In the end of it's going to bring them more money and make the company bigger. You might as well invest in your company and make it the best it could possibly be.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anybody have any final thoughts before we close up for the evening?
It's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
It really is. It really, really is.
Well, it's good.
I mean, if today's episode didn't prove that to you, then you shouldn't be watching wrestling.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for the evening. Make sure you guys are tuning in on Monday for the debate, Wednesday for the sessions, Thursday flagship show, Big Friday on YouTube, Fridays recaps. Tom, get your stuff in.
The OG Fig Kid on Twitter and Instagram, sessions every Wednesday. And do not forget ringsidecollectibles.com. Use code Tavern. You will get 10% off your orders.
Jason, tell them where they can find you.
Find me at Coming Down the Aisle. Real quick, head over to my page and my link tree. Help support a buddy of mine at Norton Graphics. His son's battling leukemia. Go over, go fund me and help him out.
Court is dismissed.